My name is Lynn Lyon, and I am an energy influencer, and I've been working in the energy industry many years. Most recently, I've been focused on renewable natural gas and hydrogen and how we work this into decarbonization. Well, I was born into the energy industry in West Virginia as a coal miner's daughter. Then I ended up working at one of the largest oil and gas producers in West Texas for several years. And all upstream oil and gas producers really only want to be oil producers. So what do you do with the CH4, right? So we started looking at ways that we could use the molecules more efficiently for transportation in our operations. After that, I had the great opportunity to work with a company based in Norway that was 25% owned by a Japanese company that really had a different way that they looked at the world based on decarbonization. They were determined that they were going to find ways to make hydrogen work. We worked on some lighthouse projects that proved what hydrogen could be used for with combustion engines or fuel cell engines. Specifically, we worked on the first passenger train in Germany. We also worked on some of the first marine vessels in North America, and we proved that it could be done. And so that really pushed me into how can we do this from upstream to midstream to downstream with hydrogen? And that's what I've been working on ever since. Hydrogen is clean and it's efficient. You get more energy per pound of fuel. That's very important. And as an example, when you have a combustion-based power plant, it generates energy at 35% efficiency. Compare that to a hydrogen fuel cell power plant, and you get 65% efficiency. So there's a big efficiency gain. And when you're looking on the transportation side, a lot of mandates these days are for zero emissions. They want zero emissions at the tailpipe. So you can only do that one of two ways, with battery electric vehicles or hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. So those are the two ways to go if you want the cleanest transportation. On the hydrogen production side, we're seeing three methods that are commonly used. Steam methane reformation continues to be the leader. And where the innovation is coming these days is they're tying it with carbon capture to have a cleaner way of producing the hydrogen from that traditional means. We're seeing electrolysis expand in the market. It is getting better and being more widely used as well as considered a cleaner source of production. And finally, I'm seeing some really interesting ones these days where people are using digesters to generate renewable natural gas, and they take the CH4 from that and use a gasification unit to provide hydrogen. So there's a lot of different means for production. Now then on the transportation side, we're seeing the fuel cell buses. That market is growing. There are about 300 in Europe now, and I see plans that by 2025, they want to have over 1,000 on the roads. There's about the same number, about 300 in the States as well. But they have more ambitious plans, especially California, with plans to have over 2,000 on the roads in no time at all. The hydrogen economy is going to be based first on proactive policy. So we're seeing the Inflation Reduction Act get people's attention. We're putting billions into it. We are also seeing some very specific programs like the hydrogen hubs that are going to have 7 regional hubs. Now, regional is the key part here. So when you think about hydrogen production and the regional component, what we need to have is production and consumption locally. So when you think of an area like California that uses a lot of energy, they're going to have to get into the production business more. They're going to need more local production to fuel their needs. Then on the flip side of that, if you think of areas that are overachievers maybe in the energy production area, like Texas and West Virginia, they're going to have to think more about consumption, and they're going to have to focus on how they change their ways to use more hydrogen in their operations and in their transportations. So what that means is they need to adopt hydrogen fuel cell buses in their areas. They need to move to hydrogen fuel transportation and really think about how they can use it locally, because that's going to be what is most economical, and it's going to give you the lowest carbon intensity score. There are 3 big ones. The first one is the production problem. We have a lot of clashing between the desire to produce it the traditional way, where we have 95% of it coming from steam methane reformation, and cleaner ways like electrolysis. And then finally, the gasification method that I discussed a few minutes ago. It's going to take all of them. So it's not just going to be one or the other. It's going to be fit for purpose in that region based on their resources. Example, it doesn't make sense to use electrolysis if you have a dirty electric source. If you're in my area here with coal we have coal power plants here, it's not going to make a lot of sense to use electrolysis, right? So maybe something like a renewable natural gas option would be better. The second one is the transportation and the infrastructure. It's not easy to move hydrogen. So we have a great pipeline system in this country for natural gas, but there are only pipelines for hydrogen in the Houston, Texas area around the coast. So we need to really focus on how are we going to get more means to move this. We can move it by multimodal. So we can do rail, river, road. We can do a virtual pipeline and move it as a compressed gas. We can also move it in liquid form with cryogenics. And all those technologies are improving daily. And finally, the largest and maybe the hardest one to solve that is getting the least attention is the consumption side of this. When I go to some conferences, I hear people talk a lot about the production side. They'll talk about how we can produce this, how much they can produce. But when it gets to consumption, I swear sometimes they take a crayon and they draw a truck, right? They haven't seen a hydrogen truck before. They don't know how this is going to work. They haven't visited a power plant and seen it run on a turbine. So that's how we really have to focus the whole supply chain, not just on the production side, but very specifically on the production side. How are we going to help fleets get the trucks they need and integrate this into their operations? Bus fleets, transit fleets across the US are interested. 12 states right now are looking into adding hydrogen as a source for their transit fleets. We have some very big fleets on the West Coast. Foothills Transit is the largest. They have 33 buses moving people all across the area. But also we have this interest east of the Mississippi as well. So one of the largest ones in our area is SARTA. In this area has 13 buses, and they are moving people across the area. They are safely introducing hydrogen into their ecosystem. People know they have a cleaner fuel choice. I've been working with a partner of ours in West Virginia on an eco-industrial park, and they have some very ambitious plans. I am very proud of the work that they are doing. They are a Hydrogen Hub Award winner, and they are finding ways to produce the lowest carbon intensity score using renewable natural gas. And they have plans to use it to fuel their power at their facilities. They will use it as a fuel source for other businesses in the area. And it's along the Ohio Valley River. So there are lots of opportunities for the steel industry and others to jump aboard and use hydrogen. And they are building out a multimodal network where you can move the hydrogen on rail, river, or road. And we're putting in a fuel station that you'll be able to fuel up heavy duty trucks or buses, and you'll be able to fuel up virtual pipeline to move the hydrogen on the road. The most important role that BaxEnergy plays is the ability to highlight the key performance indicators. When I was reviewing your software, I was so impressed that you've been working with partners upstream, midstream, and downstream, all the way to the dispensing to the trucks. And you have this visualization. You can see what is going on in your systems. And that's really important when people are getting into this for the first time. And your energy industry experience, your experience with renewable energy and traditional energy. This makes you a trusted partner. So the visualization and the experience, that's a perfect combination.